Do you know what time it is? It's time to talk about time in episode 88 of the Doofy Doo Talk Through of Shiren, the Wanderer. Hi there, it's Doofy back again. I ran out of time last episode before I could start talking about time. So this episode, I'm going to go over the three aspects of time and how they relate to life and Shiren the Wanderer. Before I start talking about time, I should say that when you meet someone, generally people have two attitudes towards the world around them. And this is going to tie into time eventually. Another mind melding that is not actually a melding jar. Must remember that. Every run my names mean something different. Sometimes they mean what they are, and sometimes they mean what they aren't. Like the please hold me question mark. Sometimes it's not a holding jar. I think last run I was like, oh yeah, that's not a holding jar. So mind melding is not a melding this run. The dragon killer actually comes in handy. But this run it's not a melding jar. Some runs it is. I am not very organized in my naming schemes, in case you haven't noticed. So people have two attitudes towards the world around them. People are generally either actors or they're participants. These are just my terms. So actors are active. They believe that they can control the world, that they are in charge of what happens to them through their actions. They make things happen. They control other people and their surroundings. And participants are passive. Participants kind of let the world happen to them. They believe that you are the subject to the wills of the universe and fate, and things just kind of happen, and they don't act or try to control other people or the environment. They live in harmony with society and the world around them, and they kind of go with the flow. So I guess if you think politically about this, actors would correspond to libertarians. Libertarians are very individualist, independent, They think everyone has the power to change their own life. They want the government to stay out of their business. And poor people, it's their fault if they're poor, Why don't they just work hard like me? And if you work hard and you're poor in America, you can make it because capitalism is fair and the free market is fair. And then the other end, participants would be kind of like socialists, I guess. Or populists? No, more like socialists. So they believe that people are subject to the will of the environment and society, and it is our job to support people, and it's okay if you receive aid and help from the government and society at large, because those have a big impact on your life, and no matter how hard you try individually, there's always things that are going to happen to you that are going to be unfortunate, and in order to overcome them, we need to band together and help each other out. And it's sort of an obligation, I guess you could think, to help each other out in socialism. And in populism, it's more sort of morally the right thing to do. In small groups, you help other people out against these elites that don't care about you. Of course, those are two extremes, and it's very rare to meet someone who is all the way at one extreme or all the way at another, who thinks that we're totally in control of our life. Oh, here we go. Alright, this run's looking pretty good. I need some items, but I have a lot of food. I think I have a little bit too much food, though. Might have gone a little overboard. Again, it's important to find that good balance between food and items. So I have a scroll of confusion. That's nice. I'll save this not melding jar. I'll kill this Sundubba for some experience. It's rare to see someone at an extreme. So most people don't believe that you're totally in control, and most people don't believe that you just have no control whatsoever. And when we're talking about time, it's important to know which mode of thinking people are in, or which one they favor. Because usually people have a natural comfort zone when it comes to either being in control or letting the world control them. Yeah, make me eat my Rust Balls. I don't even care, dude. Oh, alright. So I got rid of some of my rice balls, but it's alright. I was gonna eat those anyway, man. So let's think about people who concentrate on the future. People who concentrate on the future, if they are active, they're always asking themselves, how can I force a positive outcome for myself? I know what I want in the future. I want to be able to kill every monster. So how am I going to do that? I need to plan. I need to have powerful equipment, a strong sword, a strong shield, and Shiren the Wanderer. And then when I meet any powerful monster later on, I will kill it. If I meet this Lilac, I'm going to have a sword with the Cyclops killer meld on it, and I'll be able to kill it right away, or even a gaze meld. So in real life, people who are active and thinking about the future, they're always making plans, they're always networking, they're always thinking, how can I get more power, more money in the future? I'm going to make this happen for myself. I'm going to plan right now and make sure that I am able to force open doors for myself. I'm going to make my own opportunities in life. On the other hand, people who are passive and always thinking about the future are thinking, what might happen to me in the future? I'm going to plan. I'm going to gather a bunch of items and Shiren the Wanderer because I might run into a monster house, a Great Hall monster house even. Or I might run into a low poly dancer or a rice changer and I need to be ready. So they're thinking, oh, things are going to be happening to me and I want to be ready. I might have some kind of misfortune or opportunities, and if it happens to me, you know, I don't have any control. It might happen, but I'll be ready when it does happen. And that corresponds to people in life who are kind of always planning for the future, preparing, ready for any outcome. They don't believe they have much control over what's going to happen, but they want to be ready just in case it does. Let's move on to the opposite, the past. People who are obsessed with the past and who are active participants in life, who believe they have control. They're usually thinking, what should I have done in the past? They go over their old mistakes, kind of like the step I did, was it like 2 episodes I guess? Yeah, 2 episodes ago in Shiren the Wanderer. I died in Face Final Puzzle. I thought back over the past and was thinking, oh no. Is it already time to die? Oh no! Wow, I'm already down. So, all this talking about time, I wasn't concentrating on the present, ironically. Alright, well, run number 3 is over. I'll have to start run number 4 in Face Final Puzzle. People concentrating on the past are thinking, if they're active and they believe they have control over the world, thinking, what should I have done in the past to change the outcome? This present that I am in is the result of decisions that I have made in the past. And if I can just look at the past long enough and figure out the correct decisions to make, I will be able to control what happens to me in the present. People who, so like I said in Shiren the Wanderer, that would be looking back at that death and thinking, oh, what did I do wrong in that situation? Well, I let the rice changers rice change all my items into rice balls, and I didn't have anything when I hit the Death Reapers. So, if I don't do that this run, maybe I'll be in a better position to succeed in the run. I would be kind of concentrating on the past and believing that it's completely the result of my action. If you're more passive, you look back at the past and you think, is that going to happen to me again? You look back at things that happened to you and you think, oh, I wonder if those things are going to happen to me again. I hope the bad things don't happen again, and I hope the good things do happen. I don't have any control, but you're kind of vaguely hoping that patterns don't repeat themselves. And that's not a very helpful perspective to have. If you don't believe you have any control over the past and your actions, you think the world just happens to you, but you constantly think about the past and random things that have happened, and you worry that they might happen again. People who grow up in very unstable areas, maybe a country that's racked by war or conflict, and have had a lot of misfortunate events happen to them that are out of their control. Sometimes they get stuck in this mindset. Like, the world is a very dangerous place. I have no control over what happens. And horrible things have happened to me in the past, and I just keep replaying them over and over in my mind, and I hope they don't happen again. That's very paralyzing. So it's difficult to work your way out of that perspective sometimes if you've had a very unlucky life when you were younger. My mom is believes that you are in control of your destiny to an extreme, that everyone is responsible for what happens to them because of the choices they make, and she's obsessed with the past. So she's always going over the mistakes she made in the past, which is very non-productive from my perspective. I'm generally more oriented towards the future. But I just noticed that about her. So maybe someone in your family or someone you know is always thinking about the past, and either they believe it was out of their control or it was in their control and they wish they'd made different decisions. So, you don't want to get stuck in that. It's good to do that sometimes, but not all the time. All right, let's move on to the present. And my dad is obsessed with the present. People who are in control or believe they're in control of their life, who are active actors, and who are obsessed with the present, they just want positive sensation. They're asking themselves, what am I going to do now? What are we going to do next? And when you're a child, you're like this. It's kind of you experience very immediate joy. You're in the moment. You do things just because they feel good. Your experiences are very intense and momentary. So you get a sense of exhilaration. And there are some people who, they like jumping out of planes, skydiving, mountain climbing, anything that gives them the thrill. Snowboarding, they just live in the present moment all the time. They're not going to save any money. Why are you going to save money? You could die tomorrow in a car accident. You got to live for the moment. What is that? YOLO. Which is people make fun of now, but some people really feel that way. My dad is not like that. He is the second type of person who lives in the present, the person who is passive, who lets the world happen to them, kind of flaky, sort of like a hippie almost. He doesn't make any plans. He doesn't worry about the past or the future. He just kind of lets things happen to him, and he's happy all the time, but because he never plans for anything, he doesn't have a lot of control over what happens in his life. Things just kind of happen and he goes along with the flow. I tend to be a person that thinks about the future. And I lean towards being a participant in life and sort of letting things happen. So usually what I'm asking is, what might happen? I wonder what might happen to me. Oh, cool. I'm kind of observing it. You're like, oh yeah, wow, it did happen. That's awesome. I'm kind of obsessed with novelty. If I think I know what might happen, I kind of lose interest. And I'm always sort of extrapolating to the future. So me, my dad, and my mom are all very different in what aspect of time we favor. And you don't want to get stuck in one aspect for too long. Just not healthy. In Shiren the Wanderer or in life. It's important to live in the present sometimes to get that childish joy and sense of exhilaration. For example, in Shiren the Wanderer, in that ceremonial cave run, the Black Looper, when he fights the kidney boss, I'll put a link to that in the comments, because that is awesome. He does a lot of showboating and a lot of crazy techniques. He kills some enemies with landmines just for style points, and just because it's fun, because he's living in the moment. It's not super efficient, but he's doing it just because he enjoys playing the game, and it's important to have those moments. But if you live in the present all the time, like I did when I just wanted to see the explosion of the spiky bomb just for fun, I didn't think about the consequences in the future. Or in real life, if you do drugs, or if you climb mountains without ropes, or ride a motorcycle and do dangerous tricks, or anything, eat unhealthy food all the time. Sure, it feels great in the moment, in the present, and it's nice to do that sometimes, but if you do that all the time, you're kind of doomed to repeat the same mistakes and to have misfortune happen to you later on, because your present actions do have consequences. Let's move on to let's see, what's talking about the present. So the past. In Shiren the Wanderer, if you are constantly thinking about the past and all the mistakes you made, it's paralyzing. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so terrible. I make all these mistakes in Shiren the Wanderer. Oh my gosh, I got killed by a spiky bomb. I'm so stupid. I'm never going to beat this game because I keep making mistakes, or bad things keep happening to me. And you think about all the times you died. That's not healthy. You don't want to be stuck thinking about the past too much. But the past is also a source of strength. You look back at the past and you think, look how far I've come. And again, this applies to Shiren the Wanderer and life. Look how terrible I was when I first started playing this game. I used to think that Table Mountain was really difficult. Now I can beat it no problem. I'm getting better. And that reliance on tradition in the past is a source of strength and comfort and allows you to move on. So it is important to think about the past sometimes. And then the future, which is what I usually get stuck thinking about. It is important to plan for the future and be ready for unfortunate events that might befall you, and to think about all the opportunities you might have and how you can best take advantage of them. And I love planning. I get stuck in the preparation phase a lot of times. I love researching things. But if you get stuck talking about or thinking about the future too much, you'll miss what's actually happening to you in the present moment. And you'll miss opportunities because you're absent-mindedly planning for things or thinking about other things. So some of these deaths I'm having in Phase Final Puzzle are happening because I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I'm thinking about the future or other things. Let's see. So let's see. What run? I guess I'm on my 4th run already, almost halfway through my run. So I'm gonna have to start thinking about the present more in Shiren the Wanderer. All right. That's mostly what I wanted to talk about. So 2 ways of looking at the world. Either you control the world or the world controls you. And 3 aspects of time you can concentrate on. So that's some food for thought. I'll see you next week in Shiren the Wanderer when I continue run number 4. Maybe this will be a good one. I've seen things you NPCs wouldn't believe. Cranky tanks on fire in Ravine of the Dead. I watched arc dragons light up the dark on floor 88. All those moments will be lost in time, like arrows in a bottomless jar.
Is it already time to die?